Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And, as normal, here's another impromptu live stream. So I'm really thankful that we have a number of you guys watching right now, even to the point where you're kind of camped out in the comments before we even start. So that's quite humbling to be 100% honest with you. When I created this channel a few years ago, I'd never dreamed that this channel would be where it is, and it's because of you guys that make that possible. So thank you, each and every one of you. We currently have I'll give some shout outs real quick. We have Mike Camporelli, don't know if I said that right, in the chat. We have ACDC for life, Jackie O, and When Boy Sets Fire 1 also currently in the chat. As we go, please put your comments and questions in the chat. I do my very best to get to each and every one of you if I can get to a relevant question, and want to try to keep this live stream to about an hour. And we're just waiting for some people to kind of roll in. Normally we have about 40 to 50 people watching at any given time, so that's pretty good. Do me a favor as we go on, hit that like button. That helps get this video out, just like you do with any of the videos that I put out, or live streams in this case. It certainly is appreciated. And if you want to support the channel with super chats, super stickers, that definitely is appreciated as well. For those of you who are watching this after the fact, of course, thank you for watching the video. Do comment down below. And of course, I'll get to any questions I can. Good thing about commenting down below, it gives others a chance to maybe answer your question down below. So I certainly appreciate that. And of course, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So getting that all out of the way, I think we're ready to go. Just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys on a couple things I'm dealing with. I did put it in the description of the video, but my other account, it's a smaller account. We had anywhere between 100 and 200 items at any given time. That's the account that Jenna was working on. She was working her tail off on that account, and she was really discouraged now for the second time, and it might be the final time. And she was discouraged because she was putting in 5-10 listings a day. For her, that's pretty good. I mean, she does take her time. She's not as adept with eBay as I am, and she was really working hard. 6 days out of the week. Of course, she'd take a day off, that type of thing. But it just wasn't giving a lot of. She wasn't getting a lot of sales, and she wasn't gaining a lot of traction, and she was just getting more discouraged than anything else. So what we've decided to do now is, for the second time, move those listings over to my account, which we have done with the help of going back in and re-upping with InkFrog. It kind of makes it fast to just cancel the listing, refresh, drop down, put my account, and just launch it, that type of thing. So it's pretty easy to do that. But this all kind of goes to the point that I'm making, and that is, we have 3 outstanding returns on that account. There's no items left on that account for sale. And what eBay has done, for some reason, I don't know when they did it, they must have done it over the last month, is they've gone in and put some kind of a status on our account that now anytime a return is opened, the funds get frozen. I mean, it wasn't like that even on that account. That was a top rated. It is a top rated account. The funds weren't frozen. The funds, when we get a return, the item would come in, we'd do the return, and we'd use the money that's either in that account. And if we hadn't had sales, it would just take money out of our attached checking account. So that's what I thought was going to happen here. But we had a return open. Thankfully, it was $100. One was $100 curling iron, the GHD curling iron. And thankfully, they got it back to us quickly. My thought was, this person can maybe open a return knowing they have to buy a return label, because there's no free returns on that account either, and maybe just change their mind, never cancel the return request, and I'm stuck with a negative balance on an account that maybe they'll ding that account. Now, it's been about 2 weeks. We finally got all the 3 items back, and now we're trying to refund the money, and it's given me an error message. And I think I'm gonna put a video out about it tomorrow to give you more visuals and to kind of go into it a little bit further with you. But it's not allowing me to give a refund. It keeps saying, please change your payment method and try again, in a big red banner above the refund tool. So I called eBay. They have no answer for me. They said they're going to escalate it and they're going to, have me try it in the next 48 hours. But I told them, I said, you guys don't give me that long. You guys usually give 3 days. And, I don't want any defects on this account. Not to say that we're never going to use this account again, but I certainly don't want to start back up with a ding on that account. So any ideas, if you encountered that situation where you've had negative balance in your account trying to issue a refund? Yes, I know there's no money in my account, but they're going to use my backup payment methods. And I have money in my checking account, fully prepared to issue the refund, whatever eBay needs to collect. I've given them permission to do so. So it's not a willingness thing. It's just another glitch or something's going on eBay's side that's preventing me from being able to do that. So any experience with that issue, please put your comments down below. It would definitely help me. If there's something I need to do on my side, maybe go into the account somewhere and uncheck a box or check a box, then that would definitely help me out. So thank you. Got a message from a viewer the other day, Digital R Us, and he or she asked, I have a question for you. I noticed some sellers refresh their listings frequently to stay on top of the newly listed item. I just leave it on eBay and relist after 30 days. What is the best practice? So for me, it really depends on what type of listing you have. If you have a multi-quantity listing and you've already, especially if you've already sold items on that multi-quality listing or quantity listing, you want to let eBay just recycle that every 30 days, because it does help having previous sales on a current listing. So you're not going to lose any of those viewers. You're not going to lose any of your watchers. And of course, it's still going to show, if you sold 3 out of 10, it's going to show a potential buyer that 3 people have bought this item from you, right? And I think that helps these buyers decide, you know what, 3 people have already bought this item. Maybe this is going to be okay. So it gives them some confidence when they're buying that potential item. So if you have a quantity listing, keep that rotating over. Don't sell similar. Now, what I do is every day I sort my listings by date, okay, by how much time is left in the listing. And so my final page, I'll go down, and anything that's within the red that says, I have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, anything under a day, I'll go in and I'll do the drop down, right click on sell similar, and that creates another tab. And then that drop down will still be there, and I'll go and click on end item. And then what I do is I go into the sell similar item that I've created, and I'll go in, examine the listing. You will be surprised how many times you've omitted, maybe the title's not right, there's something not right with the photos, the price is way off, something might be wrong with the listing. So that gives you an opportunity to fix that. But maybe you just got to lower your price, add best offer. That's what I do. And then I take my current 1% promoted listing rate and I bump it up to the recommended listing rate and launch it. And what that does is you lose all your viewers, you lose all your views that you have on it, right? But it creates a new listing, which gives you a boost in search. And I do that for all of my non-multi-quantity listings. So that's what I do. Comment down below. Let us know what you do. And, it just works. I just think it works, because the last thing you want to do is to have a listing rotate over and over and over again. And you have that Ronco mindset for, I'm dating myself now. You set it and forget it. And it's like the definition of insanity. You allow that listing to do the same thing over and over and over again, and you're expecting a sale, and it's not going to happen. You got to pay attention to your account. You got to spend the 5 to 10 minutes, and if you have a larger store, maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day, if necessary, to maintain your current listings, which are just as important as the listings that you're going to put up. So want to give some shout outs here before we do the Q&A. Here we have Mike Camparelli. Really love your chats, Q&As. You get right to the subjects and provide some practical advice. Keep up the great content. Thanks, Mike. It's comments like that keep me going. Sometimes it's just really hard to spend that time to really research and make videos. It really seems easy when you're looking at it from home, and but there's a lot of research and editing and just trying to get good quality content out there that is really a challenge. For ask any YouTuber, they'll tell you the same thing. ACDC for Life says zero balance equals they'll ding your card on file. They just haven't done that with that account. They have not dinged anything, and they're telling me to wait. And of course, we don't get the kind of time that buyers get. Buyers get all the time in the world. They get 30, 35 days to return an item. Once we get it back, they're breathing down our throat with, like, we've seen that you received the item. Please refund the buyer now. And it's like, give me a break. I haven't gotten home from wherever I was at. This was just delivered an hour ago. And it's just kind of maddening. And then they throw these little glitches in your way, and you reach out to eBay and they're unable to help you, and unable or unwilling to extend that time frame. It's just a little bit maddening. So that's for sure. We have When Boy Sets Fire 1. Thanks for all the videos you've made. You've helped me in many situations without even knowing it. And again, that's what keeps me doing it. It's comments like these that really make it worth the while. There's been many times I've thought, am I really making a difference? And you know what? I guess I'll never know. I mean, aside from comments like this, I'll never know. But really, it's about making a difference and helping people. I'm on an island here, and it's because of this YouTube channel that I'm not. And if I didn't have it, wouldn't be able to share my experiences. We all have one thing in common. At least most of us do. We're resellers on some level, whether it's on eBay or other platforms. Maybe you do it at flea markets or marketplace. But we generally have a lot of the same things in common that we deal with day in and day out. And it's forums like this. That's why the Q&A is so important. I think it gives us all a chance to kind of interact with other like-minded people. And, I think it's a really good thing. And I'm glad to do it. Jackie O says, good evening, everyone. Austin says, hey, John, how you doing, Austin? Helena E says she raises her hand. How you doing? Gazara, I'm sorry I butchered your name. Hi, how you doing? Dean Robazek. You guys are really challenging me today with these names. Mine's really easy, by the way. So we have Jocks Jewels, Gemstones, Precious Metal Jewelry. How you doing? We have Christina, and she was really kind of the one that got me thinking about making this live stream today. She had mentioned in one of my last videos, when are you going to do another live? And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll do one this afternoon. I generally put out a video every 2 days, and I really want to create some traction with the channel. Of course, every YouTuber wants to grow their channel. And of course, I think that might mean I'm going to have to do more lives and more videos. And I don't mind doing it. It's just tough. It's just really tough to come up with stuff that I, as a viewer, want to watch. And, in turn, maybe you as a viewer would like to watch. I mean, I could come out with some pretty boring stuff if you guys want, but I don't think that's what you guys want. But Christina says, hey, John, finally I caught you on a live. I'm still laughing about the buddy thing from your video. So for those of you who haven't watched the video, this lady, her name was Lucy, and she kept calling me buddy. And I kept using my name, like whenever I replied, I put John at the bottom. And it was almost like one time it came off as my good buddy, and the next time it came off as kind of like, you need to whatever, buddy. and it felt like a threatening buddy. So I'm like, wait, what does she mean by that? That's why I don't really like communicating by way of text or messages, because you really don't know the context or how your customer means. And I just wanted her to go away, to be honest with you. I didn't really feel comfortable with that dialogue, but I thought I'd share that with you. So if you haven't seen that, go back to, after we're done here, go back and watch my previous video. And then another one, you guys want to kind of get a chuckle. I generally don't chuckle at my own stuff, but the call center rooster, you might want to go back 2 videos ago for that one. That was pretty comical, actually. Just being on the phone, I couldn't believe it. We have Justin Ashley from South Carolina. How you doing? We have Prairie Pond. Hello. And Febraro. Hi there. Let's see. Winter Crow's late. Had to walk Ellie, my dog. Okay, well, that's important. You have priorities. You have to handle those things first before you come and hang out. No One Designs too. Hey, John and Miss FAE. Well, Jenna's not here right now. She'll be back in a little bit. She might even be watching this live stream. But hello to you as well. We have Rhine Lab. Done it always deducts from bank account. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that account. I don't know if you've done it where you've closed or you've taken all your listings off. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. Let's see. Winter Crow says, I knew a refund was coming, so I transferred the appropriate amount back to the eBay account, but now they're hitting me up for the return label separately. So yeah, those hidden fees that you're not expecting, eBay just loves to hit us with those. eBay chargeback reason: delivered an old address, cannot pick up due to non-contact order with wife. Won that one. Wow, that's interesting. Chargebacks are definitely fun, but you just got to follow the process, and you usually will win if you provide good information. So No One Design 2 says, today eBay is being difficult. I've ended 200 listings and 38 of them came back as errors. Internal listing application error. Please try again later. You know what? We had an interesting error that we had. Jen and I, we're both listing on my account. Again, she's now working on my account. So we're both listing. It's like adding an employee to my store. And she's in her office. I'm here doing my work. And I'm like, what is going on? I try to add a photo and it gives me like a blank, like template. It's like with that little exclamation, and it's not allowing me to do that. When I go in and check out other listings, it's not showing me their photos. So that was like 2 nights ago. And I'm wondering, actually, I think it was maybe Wednesday night. And I wonder if you guys encountered that as well, because for like 2 different sessions, it did that. So I don't know what that's about. Captain Photon, good broadcast. I'm thinking that's Sir or DIR, but I'll just take that as Sir. Pelican's Inchworm. I also learned that separate stores are just not worth it. Newer stores have limits I don't like. You're right. You have to conform with the fact that eBay treats you as a new seller. Well, not a new seller, but a new store. This might be your 2nd, 3rd, 4th store, but they treat that store as if you're a new criminal, potential criminal, coming out of nowhere to defraud the public, even though you've established yourself on 2 to 3 different stores that your social security number is tied to. And eBay just does a poor job of putting 2 and 2 together to figure out you're not that scammer. And of course, if you do something wrong with this particular store and they suspend you, that's going to be linked to your other stores. You're not going to just be able to shut that down and run to your other stores. So I don't know why eBay doesn't link your stores together in the same way when you're trying to branch out. Like, for instance, if you're trying to niche out, I get a lot of sneakers here I want to sell in this store and clothing and accessories on this other store, and why they have to put you on a 100 item limit. And speaking of item limits, my store is so screwed up, and I say this all the time, but it's screwed up in a good way. I have 2B with a billion listings approved on my store. I don't understand why, and no one seems to be able to tell me why. It's not a bad thing, I don't think, but I'll never see 2 billion listings in the life of my store, let alone at once. Joel Ark says, hello, Flippin' Ain't Easy. Nice to see you live. Well, nice to read your comments live. It would be great if us live streamers could actually see our audience, sitting on your couch with the popcorn while we're doing this live stream. But we can't, unfortunately. Maybe in the future, we'll have some kind of technology that will allow that to happen. But maybe some of you guys wouldn't watch if that was the case, right? We have Simplified 1918, maybe not the first to comment, but had a pair of shoes go to verifiers and come back as item not as described. Not much on what they found other than more wear than described. You know what's funny about these experts that eBay has? I had a pair of Apple AirPods that I had. They were new, sealed, factory sealed, and I had put them up for sale, and they took them down, stating that they were not authentic. Now, it wasn't like I sold like 10 of them and, we had complaints and they pulled it down. No, it was one listing. I had just put it up. Maybe 2 days later, it's pulled down, and I called in and I got a supervisor on the phone, and they would not tell me what about it made it inauthentic. And I just thought it was bull. I ended up selling it on Mercari and had no issues whatsoever. Buyer was happy, but of course, because I had to list it on Mercari, you do not get as much back on your larger ticket items, as with at least with my experience. And we lost a little bit on that sale, but at least we moved the item. It was a bit disappointing, but you have these experts that don't even know eBay policy, yet they seem to know what is authentic and what isn't. And in your case, not as described. Now, I'm only thinking that you didn't point out every flaw that was on those shoes. And if you did so, did you relist it and did you resell it? Are you just going through this right now? But maybe you'll have to do those things to satisfy these experts that they think that they have all the answers when they really, not all of them. Some are great. Okay, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of reps and eBay employees that just don't know their job. I'm just going to put it out there. And that's, if you're watching this eBay, I'm sorry. If you maybe do some test calls and talk to your own employees, you'll find that out. It's not just me bashing eBay. It's unfortunate that I have to even say that. Joel says, first time seeing you live. Well, thank you. And I'm sorry to each and every one of you that I keep doing these impromptu live streams. We have 44 people that are watching right now. And I'm sure that this morning, before I put out my video announcement, that you guys were maybe planning on doing something else with your afternoon or evening. And I'm just thankful that you guys had the time or made the time to kind of hang out with me. That's pretty awesome. Joel Ark, what happened to the printer situation? Well, I haven't heard back from my buddy Lucy. She has not responded back to me because I told her after about the fifth or sixth message, I said, at this point, it might be best to just open a return with eBay, because it was like she wanted me to send her a specialized label and, all this special service. I wasn't interested in making a friend. I'm out with friends as it was, bowling in a league, which I do 2 nights a week. I make time to do that. And I didn't want to be bogged down by focusing on her messages. And these messages were coming like every 10 to 15 minutes. So I eventually told her, open a return request. I got home, got her the label through the eBay system. And I sent her my blurb, do your best to send it back in the best condition you can. And a lot of people in that video had asked me, why even bother having her send the item back? Because I don't like doing the whole partial return thing. I don't like doing the refund without getting my items back. Also, the item did still function. And I'm wondering if a piece of the plastic just maybe popped out of place. Now, I get it back. Of course, I can't sell it in the same condition. Well, I guess I can. I could still sell it. It was used. It was in a used state. And I can sell it as used as long as I list what's wrong with that item. If I'm able to pop that piece back into place, maybe there's an issue where I unscrew it and kind of, take that bottom piece off and am able to put it back on. Sometimes as resellers, we have to do that. We have to go in and we get these pallets of goods that maybe have a damaged item, but we can go in there and refurbish it. And of course, eBay wants us to treat our refurbished items like used items. So as long as you're mentioning that, hey, it did have an issue on the bottom, we were able to fix it. If I'm unable to fix the bottom part of that printer, the tray has value. In my pallet that I just picked up, I have 9 of these trays, these HP trays. They're add-on trays to these large printers that add like another 550 pages. And those things retail for like $200. Of course, I'm not asking that much. I think I'm looking at like 120, 130 for each one. But there's value in parts. So you can do the whole parting out of the unit as well. And it's not very much. It's like a $22 label is what it turned out to be on the return label. So, you know what? All is good. And, unfortunately for her, she's got to have to find a way to get UPS to pick it up or have someone take her there. And that's the only thing I really regret about that, is that she has to go through that. But at the same time, eBay doesn't require us to take care of things like that. So I'll just leave it at that. Semper Fi says he adds the packing for the return was loose in a box on his shoes. And definitely what I do when I sell shoes, I will take depends if they have the actual retail box, you put it in the retail box. I may throw a layer or two of bubble wrap around that inside the box. And then even on the outside of the box, I'll throw a layer of bubble wrap, throw it in a poly, fold it up, boom. If these will fit in one of the USPS shoe size boxes, then I will I have a thing of cellophane that I'll wrap around the shoes, right? And then I'll wrap it in bubble and then put it in that box. And that generally does a trick as well. But if they're higher end shoes, you really don't, I guess you don't want to compress the shoe or do anything that might cause it to be different than what's in your photos. So Ryan Lab says, I sued PayPal in small claims to get my money back and I got their legal counsel removed. So that's interesting. You sued them. Did you win the case? It seems like you got their counsel off the case, but did you still have to go through with the suit, or did you settle? Gail's playing pinball machines. So she's at a pinball festival in Texas. So hello from Texas there. And of course, Winter Crow wants to remind you guys to do not forget to hit that like button. And that's my only ask of you guys when I do these videos is hit that like button. It only takes you a split second and you'll never remember losing that 2 seconds of hitting that like button. So thank you. That's all I ask. I really appreciate it. Ricardo says, good afternoon, John from Orange County. You're doing a great job with the eBay videos. We love the sincerity of your vlogs. We're missing Jenna as a moderator today. Yeah, and she didn't really know. In all fairness, I kind of sprung it on her that I was going to do it today. And I like to do these to kind of take a break. You're out in the garage. It's starting to get hot out here in Vegas, by the way. And I do a lot of my testing, my photos, and most of my listing process begins in the garage. And I thought, you know what, I'll just take a break later on in the afternoon and talk to you guys to kind of break the monotony. Christina says, when I use the refund tool, I always get the message waiting for buyer to confirm refund. What does that mean? The buyer needs to agree about the refund. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I need to wait weeks until the return closes. So what happens is, as soon as you accept the return, if it's not a 100% refund, and that's including the original cost of shipping, if you charge your shipping separate like we do, if you're not returning that shipping, or if you're deducting any amount from the original amount that they paid you, then eBay will say, when you process that return and that refund, it'll say your refund's complete, but the return isn't. So they'll send that money to the buyer, whatever amount that is, and then they'll send them a message asking them to confirm if they agree with the amount of the refund. Now, a lot of times people don't even see that message. Of course, they don't even read your listing, but they won't read that message either. They won't even look at their messages sometimes. So eBay gives that person 10 days, not 10 calendar days, 10 business days. And so if on a Monday you do your return, it's not going to be until the following really the following, not the following Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that, early morning hours is generally when you'll see that drop off. And it's frustrating because that money is sort of tied up. You're not going to see that money go back into your account, whatever that difference is. So if it's a $100 item and you charge $10 shipping, you refund the 100. Well, that $10 that you didn't send to the buyer, that's kind of in limbo until either the buyer agrees with it or that drops off, whatever happens first. So unfortunately, that's eBay's system, and it's not just affecting you, but it affects all of us if you're not giving 100% refund. So Ryan Labs says, seems like every listing with the new video option are selling within hours of the video going live, but it takes more time to do a video and upload. I do a video on new listings selling $50 or more. And that is an excellent idea. I watched a larger channel pretty much tell everyone that the whole video idea is really worthless. And, you know, if you only sell clothing, if you only sell shoes, if you only sell things that don't work, yeah, you probably are wasting your time with the video. If you sell something that has some type of functionality, and that's mostly electronics, but if it has some type of functionality, by showing a video, and we're talking a 30-second video, most of us have a smartphone right now that is capable of putting a decent 30-second video. And, you know, it's simple as turning on the item during the video, maybe hitting a couple buttons or maybe doing a couple things in the video that shows the buyer that it does work. And what that does is it buys confidence that you're not one of these sellers that's just selling some hunk of junk that you know, is used. You've used it forever. You beat it up, and now you're trying to pass it on someone else. So by them being able to do more than seeing a photo, they can actually see it work. That's going to instill confidence in your buyer, and I think that's an excellent idea. I do recommend, like you're doing, $50 or more. I probably won't do it on an item that's really maybe $100 or more. Um, you know, it does take a little extra time, and you have to upload it. And if you do it too long, if the video is too long, it's too large of a file, then you have to trim it down, and it does slow you down. So find that threshold that works for you when you're using the video option. Give it a try. Maybe go back to one of your larger ticket items that you have sitting in your store and go in and just try it. You know, if you do that set it and forget it mentality, like a lot of sellers have, thinking there's going to be one person that's going to come by and snatch this $200 item up, and it's been 6 months, and you're not willing to do something different, well, then you should be happy with that item being listed and not sold. If you want it sold, do something different. And this is an excellent idea by Ryan Labs. Definitely something I do subscribe to, just really on a higher dollar amount level. Takes 2 to 3 days. Yeah, they do tell you 48 hours is what they say, because they want to make sure that you're not some pervert, or, you know, you're uploading something with inappropriate stuff, or, you know, curse words or that type of thing in your video. They have someone that wants to go on and analyze the video and approve it before they launch it. And that makes sense to me. And then, what kind of things do you sell with video? Again, electronics, higher end electronics. You know, if you have a video game system, you know, a lot of times people sell a used video game system and, you know, maybe forget to say that it doesn't do this or doesn't do that. So I'd have my video game system. I had my Xbox that I was selling. I've had it for a number of years, but it works like a charm. Basically, I just set it down underneath the television in such a way to where I can show them I turned it on, and then I pan up to the screen to show them it's working. And then, you know, I then go on with the controller, have someone go on the controller to power it off. And then I pan down to show that it's actually turning off. And that's what people need to see. And it may seem silly, but, you know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I think a video is worth much more than that. If you ask me, it just shows them a lot that a photo just can't do. And also it does have audio. So you can have audio if there's something you need to explain. Maybe there's a flaw that you want them to know, like maybe you have to tap it twice for it to power on, or that type of thing. I think that also is very important because yes, people don't read, but they will watch and listen to your video. And I think that will also do you a lot. It'll save a lot of headaches, that's for sure. So no one designed two said, just got off the phone with eBay. The error I'm getting said is a glitch. They're working on the fix. Told me to wait 24 hours and try again. Yeah, that's their quick, it's their quick way of saying that I don't know. Here's something that you can try this again and call us back. And as a rep, you're probably not going to get me. So it's not no sweat off my back. So, and that's just the mentality of a call center rep. I can just tell you that from experience. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of proactive reps in the call center industry. It's not just an eBay thing, it's across the board. And it's one of those things where if you're blessed enough to get a call center rep that's proactive, not only do you want them to take care of that situation, you're going to look for other possible problems that maybe they can handle so that you don't have to call back and get it taken care of. Ryan Lab says, I did an espresso machine that was dead listing, made a video and sold it quickly. And yeah, it's just one of those things. If you have a listing that has views but hasn't sold, you have a lot of views on it. And I have some of those things, right? You can either wait, just keep listing or adding stuff to your store, or you can try to improve your sell-through rate by improving the listings that are currently in your store. So what Ryan Labs is something that everyone can maybe take as something you can do differently. Use the new listing tool. I'm sure most of us by now have access to it. We have the option of going back and forth with the this tool and the old one, and just trying the video option and see if it works. The only thing you're going to lose is a few minutes of your time, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to help your sales. That's for sure. And if you're like me and don't like the new tool, as soon as you're done uploading that video, just go back to the old lister. That's what I do. Let's see. It's too bad it takes a few days for the videos to go live, but congrats on the sales. But it's definitely a good idea. That's for sure. Sergio's in the house. He says, Vegas. Yes, Vegas. But from here to, I'd say October, it's going to start getting hot. So, a lot of us are used to it. It's just when you're working out in the garage, it's not fun. That's why I have you can't really see it, but over my head, there's a lighted area that it's like a miniature photo area. So my smaller items, when it's hot, I'll just bring them inside and work in here. Ryan Lab says, I have a full electronics rework lab. That's pretty awesome. I'm not to that level. I mean, I get in there and try to tinker with things, but I'm not going to go in and solder stuff. And that's just too much. It's just, I'm not at that level where I can do anything like that. Deportes en el recuerdo. I think I have that right. What do you think about the idea of having automatic positive feedback if the buyer has not left feedback after 60 or 90 days? It doesn't, you get no points for giving someone feedback. It doesn't give you a boost by giving someone feedback. It maybe tells your buyer that you appreciate their business. And, I am the kind of person that doesn't want to leave positive feedback until that buyer has left me positive feedback as well and told me that everything is all right. What'll happen is, you can get that buyer who may buy that item and your account's set up to give instant feedback, and then they come back at you and try to shake you down. Now, I don't subscribe to the idea where you should leave false positives and say that this is a bad buyer in a positive comment. But I don't want to leave them any kind of good at all, any kind of feedback if they're that kind of a buyer. I just don't feel like it's warranted. It's not, the transaction to me isn't over until that buyer has accepted. So like the Macari method, right? They get your item, they have 3 days to leave you a feedback, and they make you leave the buyer a feedback if you want your money. And of course, if you haven't done it in like 4 or 5 days, they just give you your money. And I think that's a brilliant method. Of course, eBay is too stuck in their own ways to think about changing to a method like that. But it's a brilliant method as far as I'm concerned. And that buyer initiates that transaction or that feedback to tell Mercari and you that they're satisfied, and you do the same in return. And that's kind of how I do my feedback. How long has the video feature been available for sellers? I believe it was on a limited basis if you were invited earlier in the year, and some even say that they had that ability to do that last year. I guess they were invited earlier than that. If I think it's part of the new winter seller update. So go to your lister, and there should be something at the top that gives you the ability to switch over to the, I think the top right, that gives you the ability to switch over to the new listing lister. And that is the only way you can upload a video. You cannot upload a video on the older classic version. You have to do it on their new lister. I do not like their new lister. It does take, at least for me, some of you might love it, but for me, there's just more clicks involved, more things that I feel are broken. Like try adjusting your brightness on a photo that you've just uploaded, and it will try to tell you that that photo is now invalid and you have to remove it. So that for me is just a headache. It's not what I want to do. So I don't use it unless I'm uploading a video. I test most everything unless it takes too much time to test, and then it goes to parts or repair, and let someone else deal with it, right? That's exactly what I do. Now, Austin has some advice. Did you all list at least 5 today? And I can say that I've done that, and I have more that's waiting for me out in the garage. It's going to cool down hopefully here a little bit. And I'm sitting here complaining. It's only like in the high 80s out here. It's nothing to compare to what it's going to be, but it's as compared to what it has been, it's just not as comfortable. And I kind of, like I said to you guys before in a video, I list throughout the day. I don't take full days off because your buyers aren't going to let you. They're going to message you. They're going to have issues if you have enough items for sale. And so I don't take days off. I just take time off. And my thing to do, I'm focused on not only eBay, this channel as well. My mindset is on the business, the family. Many of you guys may or may not know I enjoy cooking. It's something that I enjoy doing. My smoker, and just enjoy it. I get kind of excited to the point where I was thinking about even making a channel on that. But I've got too much going on, and I can't. If I can't get this channel to where I want it to be, then of course I can't even think about something like that. But I just have a lot going on, and I just don't treat this as a 9 to 5. So, and you can treat this as a 9 to 5. It's an on and off kind of thing. But if your buyer messages you at 10 o'clock at night, are you just going to ignore it? A potential person that wants your item, and maybe they just want to know if it's going to fit properly, and are you going to get back to them right away? I subscribe to doing that versus ignoring it. But it's up to you on how you want to run your business. That's a beautiful thing about the whole eBay thing. Ryan Lab says, I have the first appearance on my YouTube. That's awesome. So if you haven't started a YouTube and you're thinking about it, of people that have been wanting to do YouTube, and regardless of what the subject is, and the hardest part is just getting that first video out. That's awesome. Let's see. Pelican's lunch inchworm says, I finally started using automated feedback since I'm horrible about giving it in time. Now, you guys saw the live. I think I talked about this on the live stream last time, or a video I put out after that, where I changed over to automated feedback after the buyer has left feedback. And on the transactions where the buyer either did a best offer or I did an offer to watcher, they paid, and instantly eBay uploaded their own positive feedback for that buyer, even though I had like 5 different feedbacks that I had, customized. They put like, thank you, or, appreciate the sale. It's just ridiculous things. And it's like, I didn't want to say that, but I don't know if you guys are going through that, but it's definitely happening to my account. And it's somewhat annoying because, again, I don't want to leave feedback until they've left it for me. Ryan Lab says, I used to live in Vegas off Swenson University and Hard Rock. Used to go to swap meets all the time with my cousin the days before eBay. I'm on the outskirts of that area. I'm way outside, not far from Paiute, if you know where that is. Let's see. Besides hitting the like button for me, for John, don't forget to order your free eBay shipping supplies by March 31st. That's if you haven't used your coupon from January 1st for Q1, because you're going to get a new coupon here in a few days on the 1st of April that everyone should be either getting the tape, getting the boxes, getting the whatever, because it's free. And I'm out of the eBay tape. And I figure, it's not worth going onto their store and paying full price when I can just use that coupon. I've already used my Q1 coupon. So my Q2 coupon is something I've been waiting for. But definitely, thank you, Ricardo. I appreciate that reminder. My point is it should count as positive feedback for a transaction made without any problems, even if the buyer has not taken the time to place it. But it doesn't do leaving feedback for your buyer, though, doesn't do your account any good. It tells your buyer thank you, pretty much. It tells them, I think it has more value. Like I said, it has more value if you sell in a niche where you're looking for them to come back. You're showing them that you appreciate. There's people that really are resentful if you don't leave them positive feedback, like somehow you owe them something. I think it's just good business. I think it's something that you should do. But even if the buyer hasn't taken time to place feedback for you and you leave them positive feedback, it could be a reminder that maybe they're going to come back around and leave you a neutral, or worse, if they maybe were just trying to forget this is a bad feedback, but now they left me a positive. I'll respond, but I'm not too happy with the item. To me, no feedback is fine. I don't mind if a buyer fails to give me positive or any kind of, well, we don't want negative feedback. We don't want a neutral feedback. If they don't leave me a positive feedback, hey, I'm fine with that. And you should never be one of those sellers that reaches out to the buyer. Hey, can you consider leaving me positive feedback, even if you're trying to build up your account? Because if sometimes you don't really want to know what that buyer has to say about your item. And so I'll just leave it at that. And ACDC for Life says, I only leave feedback if the buyer leaves feedback first. Got burned in my 20 years on eBay. So yes, I agree with that. And I want to say thank you to Christina for the super sticker. Very much appreciated. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for the idea of doing the live stream. It definitely is, the night before I'm thinking, what video can I put out? Usually I do my videos at night for the next day. And it's always on my mind. What can I talk about? What can I talk about? And I think making these live streams, it allows me not only interact with you guys, but it gives me other things to consider for content in the future. So I appreciate that. Dan says eBay's supply prices went up and everything's going to start going up. Everything from that to your groceries and they say it's bad now. It's going to get worse, guys. And I'm not the first one on YouTube to say that. You can watch different channels on YouTube to say what's happening here. The price of food, the price of just general stuff, with the fact that gas has gone up. Everything that uses gas that has to deliver items to your local store or to you is going to impact the cost of that good being created. So just get ready for it. And I have no idea what the impact of that's going to have on eBay. It makes me think, if you're selling like used items, rather than spending the full price on that item they need that's brand new, they might gravitate towards saving money on your used item. So it may be a good thing for eBay, but generally hyperinflation is not good at all for anyone, at least in my opinion. Pelican's Inchworm is saying, yes, I have automated for only after receiving a positive feedback first. And the Desert Fairy Chick is having problems with the chat. So I don't know if that's new to everyone here. I'm seeing it pretty good here. I'm trying to catch up as best as I can. I'm about 10 minutes behind. And we have 54 people watching. So thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. Of course, I'm going to be on here for about another 10, 15, 20 minutes. So get your questions in. I'm going to try to get to those here if I can find some questions here. Winter Crow says, I'm with ACDC for life. I only leave feedback once feedback is received. I want to make sure the transaction was a success. Notice a lot of buyers these days don't bother to leave feedback, and that's fine with me. No news is good news. If you never contact me again after you buy my item, I wish you the best, and maybe come back and check out my store, but I'm not going to encourage you in any way, shape, or form to do that. My lovely wife, Jenna, is watching, and she says, hey, y'all. Hey, honey, how are you? And Dan says, eBay reps answer for everything. Glitch means they want you off the phone so they can take the next call. Yeah, and that's just the mindset. Working with call center reps for most of my adult life, I can tell you that is the mindset of many people who take phone calls. If it's a difficult situation, they'd rather find a way to get you off their line or on someone else's line so they can take that easier call. And then Ryan Lab says, I remember the days when you can leave a buyer negative feedback. And yeah, and they got rid of that because of the retaliatory feedback. So it was the idea of, oh yeah, you're going to leave me a negative feedback? Well, fine. I'm going to tell everyone you're whatever and leave you a negative feedback when it wasn't even warranted, right? You had a lot of bad sellers out there who ruined that whole process for everyone. And it's definitely unfortunate. And, I say this, Mercari needs to maybe look into something like that because it's not such a bad thing. I had a situation where a buyer on Mercari, I bought, some golf balls on Mercari for like $10 or whatever, really cheap. But, I'm the kind of golfer that, can either hit a fairway or hit a window. So I'm not spending $4 for a golf ball when I have to. So the shipping was like, I think it was like $8 or whatever, which is about right. And they shipped it to me in a box, and it was over like 2 pounds for the dozen golf balls, but they put the weight as like 15 ounces so they get the first class label. And I didn't like that. I think that's just wrong. You don't do that. And I called the buyer out, and they didn't have a response to give me. And so I, put my feedback in there, and I didn't appreciate it. As a seller, I think that's just cheating the system. And, at the end of the day, us sellers that are doing the right thing have to pay, and it's just not right. It's just not right. And so this person leaves me, a 1-star. I think I left them a 3. They left me a 1-star saying and I even left them a photo with my feedback that said, here's the label, right? And it said, falsely accused them of misusing postage. Well, I didn't falsely anything. I gave you a photo of it. Maybe you'll change your ways, so it is what it is. But they were able to leave me worse feedback. As a seller, they were able to leave the buyer worse feedback than what was left for them. I just think that was kind of wrong. And I didn't do anything wrong, but tell him, hey, this isn't right. Let's see. Captain Photon says, I never leave feedback until the buyer leaves feedback. Only way to do it. And Jenna says, it's 92 degrees and nobody's ready for the heat. Nobody's ready for the heat at all. Let's see. Desert Fairy Chick says 92 degrees in Tucson, and it's supposed to cool down a little bit in the next couple of weeks, but it's hot, and it's a little cloud cover out right now. So no one design 2 says, has anyone noticed any immediate pay happening with the buyer's offers? Days before yesterday, I got a buyer send me an offer, and I accepted it and got a notice to ship it now 2 seconds after I accepted it. And it's buyer specific. So the buyers, as they roll this out, it's sort of like how they rolled out managed payments, right? They didn't roll out managed payments to every seller right away. They kind of did it in groups. And I'm thinking that's how they did it here. They did assign this requirement to X amount of buyers like late last year. And I think they've been rolling it out, little by little. And by the end of the year, it should be a commonplace thing where it's an instant payment as soon as they accept the offer. And yes, I'm still dealing with the buyer waiting to pay. I think I have a couple right now that I need to check in on and send that invoice. It's just kind of a pain, but hopefully after a while, that'll be a thing of the past. And what state am I in? Looking up, I am in the state of Nevada. I'm over here in Las Vegas, Northwest. The farther from the center of town you get, the better, I think. And whether it's, well, if it's southwest or north of Las Vegas, that's the best place to be, in my opinion. And it's really not bad. I'm literally 15-minute drive away from being at the top of Mount Charleston, which is literally 2 exits away from where I'm at. And, I can escape the heat by about 20, 25 degrees and shoot up there when I need to. So that's pretty awesome. Ryan Labs says, are the swap meets in Vegas still good source? When I lived there in the late 90s before eBay existed in the place to flip items, I don't know anything about the swap meets out here. Maybe it's something that I should look into. Networking and meeting people that resell is always a good thing. So maybe that would give me the opportunity to do that. So that's a good idea, but I don't have any idea. Someone comment down below, whether you're in the live stream or you're watching this later, and let us know if you've done the swap meet scene in the Vegas area. That would be certainly appreciated. I'd like to know. Dan Frisco says, I've listed 5 today, no sales though. I can tell you my sales are somewhere around 20 to 25% off of where they should be. Now, of course, in all fairness, last year at this time, I had an excellent pallet. I think I made close to about an $18,000 sales month just in the month of March last year. And that's because I had really good stuff to sell. And my sourcing has been kind of horrendous up until the last week. And it's been pretty good lately, but nowhere near, that's why it's so important. I talk about this, over and over again. And the quality of items and the price you're able to pay for that, anybody can go get quality items, I guess, if you're willing to overpay. But if you can get quality items to source at a good price, where it leaves you a lot of room to make some money, I'm talking like 40 minimum, but 40 to 50% margin, then that's awesome. And that's where it's at. The problem is those opportunities are few and far between. And when I can jump on them, I do, but it's months like that last year that really make months like this look bad. And, my stats are definitely down from last year as a result. Dan Frisco does not like the eBay tape. 12 rolls for $3 on a discount isn't bad. And it's right. It's not bad. I mean, it's better than I use a lot of the poly bags. So I'll even do the box in a bag method, and I'll take that box and I'll bubble wrap not only the inside of the stuff that's in the box, but I'll also bubble wrap the box, put it in the poly, and I'll form fit that poly using the eBay tape on the outside, and I'll throw that in USPS. But because I know that UPS doesn't like the loose poly bag because they don't want to get it stuck in the machine, I'll take the clear tape here, and I will, something hanging on my tape. I'll take the clear tape and I will cover the remaining poly bag on the package so that it doesn't get caught in their machines. And they've never given me problems with doing that. And it's something that I definitely would recommend to those of you who haven't tried it. It turns your package into sort of like a pillowy feel. And that's fine because I know how they like to play football with their packages sometimes on the tarmac. And I think that the package has a little more chance of survival if it's a bouncier box than just a hard surface. So I don't know. That's just me though. Ryan Lab says Lowe's 3M Tartan 6-pack of tape is about $17 on eBay. On Amazon, you can find a 36-pack for about 50 something dollars of the tape, the clear tape that goes on these dispensers here, and delivered to your house, no shipping. It's pretty good. So I recommend doing that. Prairie Pond says, this past Christmas season, I used videos for Mr. Christmas music boxes and animated village sets. I uploaded the videos to YouTube and embedded the link in the description. And I'm willing to bet you sold a pretty good number of those if you're able to show the functionality. And Ricardo says, John, you can always get video topic ideas by browsing all the Seller Hub discussions boards. You'll see the types of questions. And I do that. I do not only browse for ideas, but I like to help people as well. And there's some eBay forums on Facebook that I think it was the used to be called the eBay Seller Help Forum, but now it's the Reseller Help Forum or something like that. I go on there quite a bit as well. Let's see. Winter Crow says they should have never removed the negative feedback option for sellers. How else can other sellers be aware of potential scammers? Well, you really can't. And one thing I like to look for is, let's say I have an offer and I'm kind of borderline. Of course, you want to move your items, but am I going to be dealing with a potential difficult person? And so what I'll do is, before I accept the offer, I'll go in, and this is all on the computer, by the way. I don't do this on the phone. I'll go in and I will click on their username and then click on their feedback rating and then click on left for others. And that is a good indication to see if we got someone that's super picky, that's going to complain and want to return and, want to maybe hit you up for a partial refund or whatever the case may be. That's going to be an indication. If the ratio of all they do is leave bad feedback for somebody to good feedback is way skewed, then I'm probably going to say no, thank you, and then go and immediately block that person. It's not because I don't have confidence in the stuff that I'm selling. It's that I've learned, whether it's YouTube or eBay, you can't satisfy everyone 100% of the time. And a product that's perfectly fine may have like a little ding in it, and they're going to want to return it back or give you negative feedback, and it's just a headache. So I definitely use that. And I would recommend doing a little research if you're kind of on the borderline, and maybe not even that. If you're just thinking about taking an offer in general, check out their behavior. I just don't like it when they do that to sellers. And my thing is, buyers are too quick to hit that negative feedback option, and they are not quick enough to reach out to the seller to try to resolve whatever their issue is before leaving a negative. Winter Crow says 48 degrees in New Jersey, and that will be the high for the next few days. So you're near the crazy New York driver. You never get sunshine. And I think that streak is now on weeks now that area hasn't really got any sunshine. So feel for you. Hopefully you don't use the sun as a natural source of light and you have a nice lighting setup, because I think that's, no matter where you're at, that's always important. Let's see what else we have. Dan says, I bet Vegas is going to be popping this summer. People looking to get out and possible hit it big and gambling. You know what? People use this place as a way to get away, but it's actually kind of dying from what it was a few years ago when we first moved out here. I can tell you that. Ryan Lab says, since I do eBay part-time, I spend a day a week to make minimum of 7 drafts. Then at morning coffee, list an item and do 14 drafts. It seems to work. I like to go out in the garage. I'll pick an item, go through it, make sure it works. And then I will, if it works, if it doesn't work, then I'm probably going to just throw it out in the trash. But if it does work fine, and there's no issues, of course, I make note of whatever the issues are. I will then pull up comps on that listing or that item and find one I can click on. This is on the phone app. Click on sell one like this. And I'll just quickly go through it. I'll put a general price based on what I've seen on the solds and the comps. And I will then save for later. And I'll do that for every item I'm working on. I'll have like a pile of items that I'll then bring inside. And of course, I've done all my photos out there. So I'll come inside and I'll just work each draft. And that kind of works for me. It allows me to sort of group my tasks without, without doing one at a time, like doing one whole listing, from picking it to testing it to photoing it to building your listing to launch. And, that works for me. I think the more you can group your processes together in a batch or batch out the work, the faster you're going to be. And that's always a good thing. Sourcing is key. If your cost of goods are low and have decent quality items, then you'll be ahead. Then your sourcing is good. It defies the law of Cassini. Yes. I agree with that 100%. That's like one of the main things of eBay. You notice, we talk a lot about negative feedback. We talk a lot about bad buyers, and you see a lot of accounts out there who make a ton of sales, have a ton of negative feedback. You can go and look and see how many items they have listed. You see how many items in the last 90 days they've sold. I do that a lot. I do a lot of research on accounts like that. And you just wonder, does negative feedback and all this stuff we talk about really matter? This person's able to buy something and they can offer a good low price for it. People aren't even going to look at the negative feedback. They're going to buy it. And so sourcing is very important. That same seller, they couldn't get a good deal on all that stuff they're selling. Chances are they'd be out of business regardless of how many feedbacks that they or negative feedbacks they have to deal with. Let's see here before we go. Do hit the like button. Miss FAE will not feed John. Our hosts need to eat. I do need to eat for sure. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. Please hit that like button. And of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe to the channel. And I have a special going on right now. I'm not charging you guys at all if you subscribe, and it is free. So it's a limited time offer until I decide to do that, or in this case, until YouTube gives us the ability to do that. No, I'll never charge you guys for content. I think that's ridiculous. I'll never create a guide and say, hey, for the special people who are willing to spend $34.95 a month, you can be a part of this content. No, I don't think that's right. There is a world of, I guess, if your channel is large enough, you can do memberships and this, that, and the other thing. And if it got to that point where I had so many questions or people emailing me and I couldn't get to them all, maybe we'd have to do something like that. But definitely, I'm not thinking about that. Maybe, like I said before, merch. If you guys are interested in Flipping Ain't Easy merch, I'm always looking for ideas. I'm definitely thinking about doing something like that, because I think while the term applies to this channel, it's Flipping Ain't Easy. That's the channel name. For most of us, I think most of any serious reseller can say that not every day is easy. Some days are easier than others, but we can kind of all agree that flipping ain't easy. And I think having merch for that would be kind of cool. I've been doing some research serious research into keywords and making sure I'm using as many as possible. Sell clothing with over 3K listings and realize my keyword usage is horrible, but don't do like some do. I've seen in some listings where I'm selling this Adidas shirt and I'm going to throw Nike and maybe Lululemon in the title somewhere in the end to kind of keyword spam, or throw it in my description. That's definitely a no-no, and you shouldn't be doing that. I've seen it. It kind of makes you scratch your head because there's nothing Nike about this item, yet it's in there. The little blurb at the bottom of their description is a way of keyword spamming their listing. Let's see. Team Brittany, when you block a buyer, can they still follow your auctions? My brother has seen bad buyers 3 times last week and he can't get rid of them. Borderline stalking because they're mad. You can prevent them from buying your listing. Unfortunately, you can't really prevent them from contacting you. But if you block them, they shouldn't be able, I mean, they might be able to watch your item, but if you send them an offer, what's going to happen is, I actually had someone I sent them an offer, I think, on an item, and they were like, well, what's going on? I can't buy your item. And it kind of clicked that maybe this is someone I blocked, and that turned out to be the case. And I had a back and forth with them, and I think it was like a misunderstanding, and I had a great transaction. Sometimes it's about communication. If you have a buyer, I'm willing to say to a buyer that I blocked, if the conversation back and forth is good, I'm willing to have that second chance with a buyer. And depending, because by the time you get a list of about 200-300 people, I mean, let's be honest, are you really going to remember who you blocked on that list, say from a year ago? You're not. So it really boils down to that conversation you have if they really want to buy that item. But I wouldn't, as far as your brother, you know what? Block each buyer that you're having an issue with and just move on. If they're sending you messages, delete it. Don't respond. Don't feed into that type of thing. I have had that happen on this channel where I had a particular viewer who actually had videos talking about other resellers in a bad way, and constantly sending me messages wanting me to side with them. And at a certain point, I just stopped. I put them in the spam, and I haven't had any since. So that's kind of how you have to handle that. If you feed into it, if your brother feeds into that, the trolls that are on eBay, they're just going to continue to harass. And so just leave them, let them be, and they'll get bored of not being responded to. Winter Crow says, lies. I have sunshine even when crazy New York driver Joe says we don't. So I'd like to see, I invited him on the show to do the live stream to kind of be with us and chat, but he didn't join us. So so Jenna is rolling in, she's coming home. So I am going to wrap up this live stream. She's right there.
Hi guys.
So want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. It's been an hour and 11 minutes. We had like around 50 people viewing, and got to get back out in the garage and do some more work. But the problems that I discussed at the beginning, dealing with these whole glitches and all that stuff that I seem to deal with more than anyone else for some reason. These are all examples of how flipping ain't easy. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And we'll do this again very soon. But until then, have a great rest of your weekend.